Okay, I'm going to do a little something different today. Recently, probably for the past several months, I have been guided to watch. These are not people that are into A Course in Miracles. They're young people that are awakening, period. They're awakening. They get it, and they're like in their teens and early 20s. And I've been watching a lot of them. And just, I don't know, yes, not long ago, it wasn't related to this, not long ago, I was watching another share by an older teacher, but they were talking about this whole, and I'm sure you've heard it, there's a huge awakening happening right now. And he was talking about that basically, there's a collective awakening happening, okay? Spontaneous collective awakening. And I've heard this from different people, whatever. And I've been seeing it. I mean, I can see it just in those around me. I can see it in this group. And so I started watching a lot of these younger people that obviously are, the one thing they all have in common is they kind of look like hippies, I mean, they're not into working for a living or in conventional ways of working. They're just, I know you can relate. I was raised by a banker father, and it was all about saving money, getting a good job, putting away for retirement, that kind of thing. And so that's the way I was formed early on. But these folks are not following any traditional paths. And yet they're really talking about being conscious, about awakening. And they are. I mean, I'd say they are awake. And so I started looking at them, just going, okay, not to get caught up in stories, but, and I don't even know how old anybody is. I'll speak for myself. I'm an apparent older person. For whatever reason, that's apparently what's happening here in form. And many of these apparently younger people are awakening. So I started asking myself, what's the difference? I mean, how are they getting this? And it's taken me 72 years to get here, and they're doing it at 19. And I thought and again, ACIM, Jesus tells us the only reason we have a timeline is to wake up. Okay. So they didn't need a lot of time to wake up. I needed much more time to wake up. And it's like, okay, so what have they done differently in their short amount of years in form that I perhaps did not do? And one of the things is, and they all talk about this, give up your stories. Now, and I remember back in La Casa days when I first got into community, oh God, this would just drive me nuts. Because I was trying to make peace. At the time, I was trying to make peace with a foreclosure and cancer. Those are my stories. And during the expression sessions, whenever I would mention these stories, I'd get a resounding, we don't want to hear your stories anymore. It's like, oh, fuck. What am I going to do? Because that's really what I need help with clearing. Well, these young people are talking about let go of your stories. And so I sat with that longer. And then I thought, after all of that with La Casa, I really got clear. I can't talk about stories anymore unless they're healed, because all stories have to be healed. So if we're thinking we're suffering from any circumstance, we've got to go back and see where we need to forgive, because it really is at this point, maybe not for, I don't know, for younger people, that I'm still confused about the whole thing, but for my age person, I had a lot of stories that I had to heal. I had a lot of people that I needed to forgive myself for making them wrong and beating myself up about it and all of that. And what I was getting from these young people is they have no story. You know, I don't even know what their stories are. I just know how they look and appear, and they appear like hippies. And not that that's a bad thing. I was one, I know this. But I do remember when I was a hippie back in the 60s, something happened. And that freedom that we were all going for, that love that we wanted to experience all inclusively, was dropped. And I became an adult, you know? It's like, okay, now you have to become an adult, get a job, make money, plan for retirement, take your vacations if you need them, you know, that kind of personality. And I realized these guys never went that direction. They basically are just waking up and staying true to it. And one of the things that they all say is give up your stories. And so I just thought I'd pass this on, you know, call it a tip. Call it a tip for awakening. Whatever circumstance you find yourself in, that your mind is giving way too much time to, stop it. And how do you stop it, you might think? Every time you think about it, stop it. You know, like that voice that's in your mind right now going, well, I can't do that. What in the hell is she talking about? That voice, stop it. That's the voice of the ego that's trying to get you derailed at every corner. And it really is. And I remember when I really started speeding up in my process of my forgiveness was when I stopped sharing really anything, really anything. But I stopped sharing for sure any of my concerns. I stopped sharing anything that wasn't feeling good. I stopped sharing any thoughts about anything, but thoughts that were not positive. And it's like I had, and we're recording, I'll talk to Kathy later, but it's like, every time, and, let's just look at pain. Oh, people love talking about pain. I know I certainly did. And it played right into my being a victim. So mention you have pain, guess what? You're immediately making yourself a gigantic victim, bigger than you thought possible. So every time that thought enters your mind, oh, I think I need to share this to them. Stop immediately and don't share. And I'm saying about anything, really. I'm saying about anything. Now, if you're still going to doctors, okay, if you're paying money for that, go ahead and, be honest, tell them whatever. But if you've stopped going to doctors and you're really going into, I'm all in, I'm all in, then anytime a thought comes up, oh, I have something to say about that, stop. Anytime it comes up, and this is tricky because my guidance has been quite clear on this one. If you've healed your story, use that as a parable to be helpful to others, but only when the story is healed. Okay? If the story isn't healed, keep it to yourself, because all you're going to get with that is agreement that something's not right. And looking at these younger people, they have no stories. They're just happy. Sharing about living life in the present moment, being conscious in the present moment. That's what they're talking about. Whereas, and again, I'm living in a kind of a laboratory here at Namaste with a lot of old people, or apparently old people like me. God, everybody has a story. And usually they're surrounded about body. So even if you don't know the person, people feel completely okay in sharing what isn't working right in their body, or how they can't eat certain things, or they have to go to a doctor to take care of this or that. That's what people talk about here, okay? And I'm just saying, I stay here because my guidance is to stay here. And so for me, I just can't judge him. I have to just smile and nod. I feel like one of those little dogs that sits on the dash. Their heads just wobble around. I mean, it's just love them, just love them, just love them. Don't engage with it. Just love them, just love them, because that's my lesson to learn. But observing it as someone that really wants to share this process of awakening with others, I can see it's like, it's not helpful. It's just not helpful. And then, I mean, oh God, this goes deep, because as soon as someone shares, oh, so-and-so, is sick. Oh my God, that runs through the community like wildfire. It's like, oh, you've got something good to share. Did you hear about so-and-so? She's sick. It's like, okay, but are you being present? Which lands on completely deaf ears for the most part. They look at me and they just, I mean, I'm considered, when I was in most of my parable, I never had children, but I have nieces and a niece and nephews that I love dearly. And I am affectionately referred to as crazy Aunt Bonnie. And I feel like, okay, that works for me. And all I can say is, I would rather be called crazy than engage in conversations that are going to tear us down. Because really, this awakening process is about getting out of our way, because we're not trying to add anything onto us. We're trying to get rid of the bullshit that we've covered ourselves up with. We're perfect. We're loving thoughts in the mind of God. Jesus, can't get better than that. So all these little stories. Oh, my humma hurts. And oh, geez, I had that last week. Oh, I don't want to get that again. Oh, I don't have enough money for that. I mean, all these ridiculous stories. We've got to stop sharing them. That's the first step. The second step is, as soon as they cross your mind, without your lips even moving, as soon as these thoughts cross your mind, you've got to be the awakened one for you and say, no, I'm not going there anymore. And then follow it up with the prayer, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. But it's like we have got to be our adult guide. There is not anyone on the planet that's going to give you more information. Now, see, the joke is you have all the information. You're perfect, except for all these stories that say you're not okay. You know, oh, my husband is cheating on me. My boyfriend is leaving me for another woman. You know, whatever the story is, there's a gazillion of them. My son's an alcoholic. You know, just some examples. I did that for us. Anyway, we have a good time in our Zoom room after you guys, YouTubers, get done. Anyway, you know, it's really kind of claiming our perfection and not distracting ourselves into being small again. And this is subtle, and this will keep you probably busy with your mind training pretty much nonstop. It will. Because those thoughts are going to come through on left field going, oh, ouch, my low back just pulled. Stop. No, not going there. Now, you know, if you feel the need to do something and go to a chiropractor, fine, but don't tell anyone you're doing it. Don't tell anyone anything about your body and how it may not be functioning well, or your mind, how it may not be functioning well. We've got to stop these stories that we tell ourselves to keep ourselves small and stupid. What we're really being asked by God and all the angels is to wake up and remember who we are, which is perfect, innocent love. But we don't live like that. We live like that. We live like our stories are real. And I'm just saying this as an experiment because, again, I'm watching these younger people, parent younger people, and going, wow, they didn't need an additional 60 years. And I started thinking, well, the 60 years additional that I needed was spent trying to fit in to the world, make money, save money, you know, make sure you had enough for retirement. I mean, and even prepare for death, you know, arrange for the urn. Oh my God, I did it all. I'm no longer doing any of it. You know, I told Suzanne, when I'm dead, just let them do whatever they need to me with as little money as possible, because I'm not going to be there. See, when we die, the body disappears. We go back into remembering who we are. Whole and perfect. It's only while we're in form that we keep reminding ourselves, ooh, we're in form and life sucks right now. Look at this here. Let me share a story with you to tell you how bad it is. And then if that one doesn't get your attention, I've got a better one. I'll share another, a better story. And it's like, and we just keep going on and on and on. Yeah, I remember here at Namaste, there was well, I don't know how huge a movement it was. I know James and I talked about it, and I said, you know, let's just have this a gossip-free zone. Namaste. Let's make Namaste a gossip-free zone. Well, it didn't work. Oh, it failed miserably. And by the end of the week, no one could remember that we'd even set it up. Now, gossip is all the times that we open our mouths and share the untruths about ourselves. It doesn't have to be about someone else. We're sharing untruths about ourselves. And if we are sharing it about someone else, we have one more, you know, pull back the projection. It has nothing to do with them. It's all me. And so this is, all I can say is this is practice, deep, deep practice. that I'm talking about here. And it means that my commitment is completely to reestablish the mind that lives in God's mind of me. I no longer want my stories, unless it can be helpful to someone else. But other than that, I want to get back to being that loving thought in the mind of God. So with that being said, we're going to say goodbye to YouTube people. Bye, YouTube land. Yeah, let me get to